Going to call the Open Space Committee meeting to order, and it is the 22nd of July, 2 p.m. and being videoed. I'm Sue Perkins, Chair.
Lisa Malzinski, Vice Chair.
Kathy Sugar Richards. Becky Gallagher, Secretary.
And we have a guest, John Charbonneau, our Community Director of Development, or Director of Community.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
It's all the same thing.
Yes, so.
Hi, John. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, finally we get to meet you.
Yeah, I apologize. Every time I coordinate with Sue to be here, something comes up. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's very busy right now.
It is, it always is.
Yeah.
There's, yeah. All right, we're looking at a grant. So we're trying to put it together, sort of like figure out how to get a warrant on the town's ballot for November and have that money as a backup to be able to get the grant accepted.
Okay, so it's a matching grant?
Okay, sorry. Hold on. Wait a second. First, I have a question.
Yes.
I know you've been really busy, but have you had a chance to look at the open space and recreation plan that was recently written and that we've asked to be added 3 more years to through the
No, I
state?
haven't had a chance to read through that yet. That's
Okay.
what I haven't had a chance to do.
Want to borrow my copy?
Oh,
It's also online, but
Yeah.
that basically frames our work, right? And this, the state requires one if you're going to apply for grants, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. So what is it?
But just to clarify Sue's point, we were looking at applying for a trails grant
Okay.
through the Commonwealth, which is a matching grant,
Gotcha.
okay? And that would put us, that's why she spoke about November town meeting. This particular T-Mobile grant is not a matching grant.
Okay.
It is an outright disbursement but it's to the community, right? So one of the things that came up in our earlier discussion was we need to make sure we have the correct authorization with the filing of the grant and as well as to any contract acceptance.
Okay.
And I think that's Mr. Wojcik.
Yes, yes. Yeah, normally the town administrator and also the select board usually authorize the seeking of any grants. Any grants I've done, I've always, gotten the authorization of the town administrator, and usually the town administrator, will sign, so with grants I've gotten through either CMRPC or some other means where I'm the actual point of contact, I still have the town administrator usually sign the grant as well as the chief officer of the town. So you're right, yeah, that would be Matt Wojcik to
Right.
get him to authorize that. So would it be an article on town meeting to basically accept the funds from the grant? Would that be what the article, the
Well,
rest of the article
because
would
we
be?
wouldn't have to be matching, it doesn't really need to be on this.
No, yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I don't think it would need to be if we don't need
Yeah,
matching
we've
funds.
done this in the past, yes.
Which is
Right.
great.
No, right now, but sometime in the future, we probably will need to approach the Commonwealth again, and that is almost exclusively matching funds right now.
Right.
So that's why when Becky found this T-Mobile grant, we wanted to jump on it.
Right. But the T-Mobile is not a matching grant, so that's good. So would there need to be something on the warrant in November right now?
Not necessarily, I mean, it's not,
Because if there's no matching grant required right now, then there's no need to go
Right.
to the town now.
right.
Okay.
Right. No.
Does the town still have to vote to accept those funds?
I don't know, it depends on the grant.
Okay.
Not necessarily. Again, the grants I've worked on with other departments and the grants that I've written myself, I've never had to go to town meeting to authorize receiving those grant funds. I just receive them, and for instance, when we receive grant money to have a consultant help us with the downtown rezoning in Stoughton or the town village zoning in Rentham, we just receive the funds. I set up an account with the town accountant, and then we basically reimburse our consultant, whoever we hired as a consultant, out of that fund. But I didn't have to go to town meeting to authorize receipt, that was handled administratively.
You were not taking anything from
Yeah,
the town.
unless
Yeah.
there's some legislative reason or legal reason that requires you to take an act of town meeting to accept those funds. Normally, I haven't had to do that.
So this cycle, the deadline is September 30th. So we'd appreciate any
Yeah.
assistance.
So let me take a look at that. So it's a T-Mobile grant.
Yep.
So what is it you are looking to accomplish with the grant?
Well, you need projects that add sense of place or lead to further development. So what we've been working on, opening up conservation areas. And we probably would apply this to what we had wanted the last time around was a parking lot and cleared trail to Keven Conservation Property on Southeast Main Street. So now there's boulders in the middle of the right-of-way.
Right.
And,
Not very accessible.
right.
Okay.
And, you know, everybody wants a little bit of, maybe a little bit of ADA input to it. And so the grant application ends June 30th.
There's quarters. They accept,
The next one is, yeah.
yeah, fall applications open July through September.
Right. And
Okay, the next.
Becky's already gotten quotes
Okay.
I've got 2 quotes. I didn't get a third, but I've got 2 quotes.
for the work, but we also had previously hired, what was their name?
Conservation Works.
Conservation Works to go out and assess the site, map out a trail, and give us an estimate on how much each phase would cost.
Okay.
So we have the foundation, we've laid the groundwork for, these aren't just numbers picked out of the
Right,
sky.
right, right. That's good.
We did get money from the town at a previous year to get someone from Western Mass to go walk around and look at the trails.
Yeah, that's what Conservation Works.
Yeah.
So they came up with a map. Well, we had kind of a map of the existing trails that are already out there and then worked on making some connections. And also the parking line, he assessed the trails and some of the work that needs to be done on the trails that are already out there. So,
So there are no wetlands areas that would be under the Concom's jurisdiction as part of this, would there?
for the connecting trail, eventually, yes.
Okay.
So, quick. Don't mind the scribbles on this because this is a bunch of GPS things. So, this is where we want to establish the parking area. This is the easement to get into the property.
Okay.
So, this is existing right here. This is one of the areas that we wanted to cross the brook, right here.
Okay.
And then we wanted to cross it right here, so we could use this.
So is that part of this grant, or is that a subsequent grant?
That will be
Okay.
subsequent work. We're just working right now on phase 1 of being able to establish this, put a kiosk sign, and get this opened up.
So for this grant, no Concom approval would be needed?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're not there
That
yet.
makes it easier.
Yes. It will be further down the road when we get to here. But I figure once we get in, we can at least clean up and mark the existing, like over here, we want a nice little overlook, because off the trail, there's a nice little hill, and it overlooks down to here. There's a nice beach stand right there. So that's the,
So what I can do is I can take a look at the website for the T-Mobile grants. What organization is that through? Is that through DCR?
T-Mobile.
No, T-Mobile.
Oh, T-Mobile. Oh,
It is.
It's the phone company.
Yes.
Okay,
It's the
excellent.
cell phone provider, they have a
Nice.
community.
That's a first. I've never heard of.
Right, and
company
it's
like-
50,000, you know, it's up to 50,000.
That can go a long way.
Which, you know, we could tie the rest of it all into that as well. The you know, brook and for the bridge.
I think phase 1, you don't want to take too many big steps, because we
Yeah.
still have to get the the kiosk, and the only thing I was thinking for the kiosk was a map, but I'm like, we don't have the trails all done, so we can't really generate a map yet.
No, I agree with that, because I think you want to get one step done at a time.
Right.
$50,000 can go far for the phase one, but once you start getting into permitting and COMCON for the other phases, then that'll be a
It
little.
was 16,000.
Yeah, 16, 17. And the only other question I had too, because we might want to revamp this a little bit, so the parking lot. Okay, so the easement is 14.58 feet wide. The parking lot easement here is, that's 10 foot by 25 foot deep. Technically, we can use this whole area here for the parking lot. But we were talking about the town has, you know, this is the road, but the road also has some town property right there also. That if we clear over here, at least one driveway right here, but going this way, clear the trees and shrubs and whatnot, and give you a better line of sight pulling out of there, but that would also make it a spot for a car to be able to pull in and park there also. Because technically speaking, you're probably only going to get 2 cars in there.
Yeah. It's really large.
So this hasn't been factored into the price. So I would have to add that to the price. I don't know what that would be.
Do we also need signage?
Sign, yeah. the
A
sign.
kiosk. I'm going to add a kiosk.
Right, but the sign like at the other conservation areas.
Yeah, but couldn't you have the sign on the kiosk?
Depends on where you put the kiosk.
At the back, same place, at the back end of the parking lot where we were planning on putting.
I'm just wondering if we need a little more straightforward signage. I mean, we can figure that out as we develop the budget or whatever, see what we have.
Like the one at the Mazinski property where you actually see the green sign at the side of the road rather than having to drive by and see something indented in.
I mean, in the scope of your grant proposal, so say right now you have estimates of $16,000 or so, I mean, you could also add in, even though it's not at the cost estimate, future trail expansion and see if T-Mobile will give a little bit more money for future trail expansion.
For
You said
the,
it's up to $50,000.
for the engineering phase 2.
Yeah, engineering of phase 2. Because you don't know exactly what that's going to be yet, but say they say, okay, we'll give you the 16,000 plus we'll give you another 15
Yeah.
towards design of phase 2. Doesn't hurt to ask. But you may not
That
know the
usually
cost of that
needs to
yet.
have, yeah, that usually needs to have a cost associated with it. That's a tough one to put in there without anything to back it up. I've been on the other end of reviewing grants.
Yeah.
Would I let that fly?
Couldn't we
No.
put out an
No.
couldn't we put out an RFP for estimates for the engineering in time to make this deadline? A quote, just give us a, give us a quote on how much to do a
We'd
phase
have to give
2.
them something to figure out what the engineering design is going to be for.
Yeah,
I don't think we're there yet. And
Let's-
engineering design is definitely going to be needed for if we get to those two water crossings.
yeah, well, let's think about it then.
Maybe we should see if we just get it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we can get step 1 done,
Yeah.
I am a
There's-
happy camper.
Quarterly offerings of it, they'll always getting ready for the next one.
Why rush?
Well, the other thing is if you get the first grant for the first part, even though it's not as large, a scope as you would like it to be, it gets you on the radar too. So if you say, okay,
Right.
we're coming back for the next phase, you've already gotten a grant from them once.
Right, they do say that they, will honor sometimes
Right.
the successful act of grants.
Exactly, so.
Again.
And we plan on having in here anyways, that, this is a phased project and this is what's planned down the road. We have, show them existing trails, the planned trails, and what's involved with those.
Yeah.
And there's no public access to this property right now, none.
And the property was given to the town through the Conservation Commission with the understanding that there would be a sign and public access, a sign acknowledging the family.
And that was in 2016.
Yes.
I looked it up to see how long we've had that property.
So next year, that's 10 years. And we've been, I think, working on this for 2 at least, to try to move it forward. So, and I think Susan wrote a letter to the planning board, and I think it was on your agenda the other night, about how we accept these properties and then we have no way to get to them.
Right.
So just as a flag that we have to get better at that.
Yeah, so that would come up obviously when the planning approves some kind of flex design subdivision with this open space as part of it. So we discussed that, and they agreed that when a project like that comes forward, we would include
Rather than having to walk up the river, we can have a piece of land.
that, making sure there's access to it.
Right.
The other issue that I have sometimes with flex design projects, and one thing we try to be aware of, is to make sure that the land we're accepting is actually usable land. And not just because some developers will do that, oh, look, we're giving this open space to the town, but it's totally wet.
Yes.
It's swamp, you can't use it, so want to make sure the land we're accepting is actually usable land, not just useless land that the developer can't
Yeah.
develop it.
It's
AKA
it's
wetlands.
Wetlands, and at least it's, saving them for the animals that are there or whatever.
No, but there's a trade-off with the developer in this transaction that should be met to the specifications of the town and not just,
Well, because with a flex design, you're giving them lesser lot size, you're giving them lesser frontage that doesn't necessarily meet zoning. That's supposed to be the trade-off, is the town
Yes.
is getting some kind of land. But if they're doing this as a way to fit more homes in there and giving land that they couldn't use anyway, then they're kind of, it's a self-serving purpose where, oh, well, look, I'm giving this land to the town, give me more lots.
Yep.
But is it actually usable land? And are they actually kind of playing the system a little bit?
yeah.
And I'd like to go one step further. And all these, wherever we have access, that needs to be surveyed and marked.
Yeah.
We're like, where is this? How?
That's one thing the planning board's working on with these old subdivisions, that I've inherited a lot of things. let's put
You
it that
bet.
way.
sure have.
And it's so funny, we were talking about it this morning where my wife will ask, what'd you do today? Where do I start?
Yeah.
So we're basically dealing with a lot of things that were not done properly in the past, were not completed in the past, that we're trying to complete, we're trying to fix. Right now, I'm in the process of, and it's very time consuming, and I'm glad we don't have a lot of applications right now, but I'm totally reorganizing all our electronic files because it's impossible to find anything. You know how when you, for instance, when you scan a document and email it to yourself, it won't assign a file name to it, it'll just have a numeric code and you have to name the file? At least 50% of all the files in the folders for subdivisions and site plan review have no file and have no name. So I don't know what I'm looking at, I don't know what I'm opening. It took me 2 weeks to go through all our subdivision files. I have to open up every single file, see what it is, either rename it or delete it because it's duplicate, and then save it under a new name. It took me 2 weeks to do subdivisions, and now it's taking me another 4 days to do site plan reviews. And that's part of the issue. It's tedious and it's not glamorous, but it needs to be done because my goal is to be basically, if someone needs a file, we should be able to put our hands on it within 30 seconds.
Yep.
It should not take me an hour to find something. And that's very, very frustrating, but we will get there because I think I asked Jenna one of my first days, I said, so how do you organize your approval not required files? Oh, they're organized chronologically. I'm like, no. When we have a senior volunteer coming in a couple months, they're going to be organized in alphabetical order by street name, and within that street name, numerical order by address. Because chronologically, nobody's going to come in and say, hey, I need that A&R from 2017. They're going to come in and say, hey, I need an A&R for 42 Maple Street. How do we find it if we don't know when it was? So We are going to, yeah, totally, so there's a lot of administrative stuff that's happening behind the scenes that people aren't aware of that is costing us time and costing us, I had a woman who is donating, Deb Donlin, she abuts Hilltop Estates, and part of Hilltop Estates subdivision is they're donating land to DCR. And she has a property that abuts that, and she wants to donate to DCR. So she contacted her, but the attorney from the state contacted me and said, okay, what I need from you is I need evidence of a recorded release of covenant from the planning board. Well, I opened up the file. Most of the files have no names. So I said, I don't know if I have it. So when I started doing subdivisions a few days later, lo and behold, I opened up a file. There it is. Now I have it. So I was able to get that to the attorney, and now it's moving forward and everything. That's the type of thing that can really, people don't think it makes a big difference. It does. You need to know what you have, and you need to know how to, you need to be able to access it quickly. So that's one of the things we're working on. So yeah, there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes where I'm glad we're not inundated with applications right now, because we need the time to really clean things up and get things organized and be more
Get the
user-friendly.
base ready for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, good.
So yes, I will take a look at that T-Mobile grant program in the next couple of days and take a look at it, and even if we start filling out the basic information now.
Well, that's what we're working on, is pulling together. I didn't go to look at the actual grant, but what they're asking for, because, the full proposal, 3 to 5 pages, letters of support, and things like that. So I'm figuring, and I've got all the specs for this kind of stuff that they need.
So hold on, let me take a break and go get a few business cards so you can reach out to me. So, we start filling out the application as far as the scope of the work and actually the project description. I'll need that information, so let me go grab some business cards.
I've met him before in the master plan. So I had a busy morning, and I just sat down and my eyes closed, and I woke up. It was 5 minutes after 4, after 2. And then I got here and I had to go back all the way.
Yes.
That sounds good. I mean, is there anything else we want to ask him about?
I just want to mention the budget process to him.
Yeah.
So on this grant, review criteria that includes community need, and I think we can show that there's very little park, any kind of, public access, open space, et cetera, down in that part of town. So that there's a community need there, especially with the growing population, community impact. They're looking for partners and engagement, so we can work on that, and feasibility. I think we have most of the parts. We just have to make sure that we massage it so it all comes together, and it's a little more, I think, a little easier than Commonwealth, some of the Commonwealth requirements.
Excellent.
Thank you.
It's like his little deck of cards. He's getting rid of them early. He's still in contact you later.
Trade them with your friends.
Yep.
They don't come with gum.
So we just wanted to mention, too, that especially, I think, this past budget cycle, and maybe the one before, but we're very frustrated with the way, A, our work was perceived, and B, when we talk about asking for a larger budget, we get shot down, or we get told there's no money, and then we get to town meeting and it's like, well, why don't we make a motion or something, an amendment from the floor? Because 6 months ago, if you listened, there was plenty of money. So, and then we scratch and borrow from other departments or whatever. And so what we're asking is if you could help facilitate our understanding of the process when it comes time for that, and then if we do decide to apply for a Commonwealth grant, matching means that we also have to apply for the whole amount.
Right.
It's reimbursement basis, so you apply for the whole $100,000,
Right.
the cost of your project, and then at the end, after you've proven you've done all the work, then you get the $50,000 back.
Right.
And that's,
I can tell you, I empathize with you because normally I'm used to being in a department that is, if not the smallest, one of the smallest budgets in town. When I was just in the town of Rutland, my whole department budget was my salary. Any office supplies. What was unique about the planning board in Rutland was they have a revolving fund where whenever they take in application fees for projects that come
Right.
in, other than paying for the legal advertisements for the public hearings in the paper, the rest of the money goes into a revolving fund. So they had a revolving fund of about $70,000, which was nice. And the Conservation Commission, Board of Health, same thing, they all have their revolving funds. But I hear you because, one of the reasons I was looking to leave Rutland was because their financial situation is very poor. They're 300 population, a little bit more than Douglas. But after this last budget cycle, they have $77,000 in free cash.
oh my God.
Yeah. My position, even though it was only 7 or 8 years old, was proposed. They didn't term it as a cut. They were hoping that the planning board would agree to cover about 1/3 of my salary, which they can only do for a couple of years. So I get frustrated too because I know that, even though there are people that I work with every day that realize the value of the department, that when it comes to the average resident who doesn't interact with my department all the time, they don't know. So in the public realm, if it comes between me, fire, police, and the DPW and the schools, I'm going to lose that every day. So I hear you. So it's always been a challenge of mine to basically raise awareness of what the planning department does and the things that people don't see, like the stuff we're doing at the files, nobody sees. Nobody sees that we do that. Unless you have to come to our department and deal with something. Everyone sees what police does, fire does, the schools do, the DPW. It's tangible. There are departments in town that don't do tangible things like that. So I hear you, and I share your frustration because I've had that battle before where, I've been in towns where, well, we need you to cut your expenses by 10%. Well, 10% for me is a lot more harmful than 10% for the schools or 10% for the fire, who have these huge budgets.
Right.
I was in the town of Wareham 15 years ago, and they said, well, I need you to cut your expenses by 25%. Well, there goes my mileage reimbursement. There goes my office supplies. There goes my, any seminars that I want to go to or any training opportunities. That all goes away. So it's always frustrating when they take from the tiny, tiny piece of the pie, just as much as they take from the big piece of the pie. So I hear you. So the process, that's a good question. I'm not usually intimately involved with the budget process. Usually that's obviously the select board, the town administrator, and the finance committee who go through that.
But in fact, every department goes before the finance committee.
Yeah.
So, there's that. We were never basically included in some of those conversations, and then we were told, oh, there's no money. And it's like, wait, we're also trying to get money here to offset the cost of what the town could and should have. So,
Right. So
it's an education process.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So basically, that would be my advice: is just talk to Matt, and as far as the process goes, because I'm in the same boat as your board is, where I have to basically.
Money.
Yeah, I have to basically, put in a request for things and everything. And yeah, you're right. I go before the finance committee to explain my budget and defend my budget. And I did it in Rutland. And I'm like, well, wait a sec. I said, so I was basically the only department head that. And again, they said, well, it's not a cut. The planning board has the money to cover that, $25,000 of your salary. Well, yeah, it is a cut because you're expecting the money to come from someplace else.
Yep.
So, but I was the only department head that they were proposing to cut. So it's like, okay, well, thank you. So I hear you. I've had my share of frustrations with the budget cycle and the budget process. And in the case of Rutland, we had an executive secretary who was also the recording secretary for the finance committee and the select board. and she would take those budget discussions as an opportunity to defend her own salary and say, well, why do we need a council on aging? Why do we need this? Why do we need that? And I ended up calling the select board. I said, that's not appropriate. I said, she shouldn't be doing that because no other department heads at this meeting able to defend themselves. So, yeah, I've had, so, yeah. I said, so. Believe me, I've been through some things. My first town planner job in 2005 was with the town of Blackstone, and to this day, I'm the only full-time town planner they ever had for a year.
That's true.
And I got hired with a master's degree and 8 years' experience at $42,000 a year. And it was the worst year of my career because I found out my position was part of the tug of war between the select board and the planning board. 7 months in my job, 2 small kids at home. I was full-time making 42 grand a year, and they proposed to cut my position at half-time and put it under the control of the select board, even though the year before they had just voted to make it full-time under the planning board. So there's a political tug of war going on. I went to the finance committee 3 times. I went to the finance committee and did a 15-page and a PowerPoint presentation with a cost-benefit analysis of the benefits of having a full-time planner. It took them 3 votes to break a tie and barely vote to support my position full-time. Their motion failed at town meeting, and I was maintained full-time without a pay raise. And then the next day, a finance committee member came in my office that I had never met before and opened my door and said, congratulations, you still have a job. I'm like, okay. That tells me how you view me, so believe me, I've been doing this for 25 years. I've been through my share of budget cycles and my share of fights and things like that, so.
Well, we'll remind you of Blackstone when you're having a tough day in Douglas.
Exactly. No, I love it here. The people have been great here, and I love working with Matt and Jen and Ken and Jackie. It's been great.
Excellent.
They treat people very well, comparatively speaking to most towns, so I have no complaints about being here.
Good.
Keep you.
Yeah, no, I hope to be here. I hope to be here a long time.
Excellent.
Then we'll work on pulling information on this together.
That'd be great, yeah.
Get it
So send me an email, so I have your email contacts. I have Sue's, and we can start working. I will start looking at the grant application. We can start at least filling out basic information, get it more fleshed out, because that'll save time getting on down the road. And we can start putting together the project description, things like that. And then the supporting documentation is in process with the levels of support and the estimates and things like that. We can pull that together as well.
I think it would help to have letters of support from some of the town boards.
Yeah, letters of support is one of them.
Yeah, but maybe we should get the Board of Selectmen, and then maybe we should also get, we could also get the state rep and the state senator.
And if you want to get on a planning board agenda to just come to a meeting and just ask them for a letter of support. We're meeting on August 13th, and I think our next meeting is September 9th, September 10th is our first meeting in September. So
Which board?
the planning board, if you want to get them to show a letter of support. I mean, there's time to get on this next agenda if you'd like to.
Yep.
I can put you right at the beginning of the agenda so that you get you on right away.
So this has to go in by September 30th.
Yes.
Yep.
We also need a letter from the conservation, because they're the ones who technically are the,
Owners.
Yeah, reach out to
Yeah.
Jen on that because she does their agenda. So if you'd like, I can put on the agenda for the 13th, and then whether it's Sue or yourself wants to come to the planning board and just do just a request, a letter of support.
Yep.
And know what you're doing, I'll put you up. So would you like me to do that? Put you right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please. That would be good.
And it's a fairly light agenda, so it's good.
Perfect. We don't need any permits right now, so we're good on that.
Yeah, it sounds like for this stage, you won't. So that's good.
Yeah, up to 5 letters of support from local government and/or community organizations.
Yes, as many as you can.
Yeah. The five is Board of Selectmen, state rep, state senator, planning board, and conservation.
You want them all from the town? Would you want maybe one from NEMBA and one from Bay State?
Yeah, both, yeah. Met comment.
So depending on how you want to flush that out right there.
State rep, maybe one for the state. One from Bay State.
Planning board, select board, Concom, and state rep, and state.
Bay State Trail.
That would be fine.
Who's I got Concom, Planning Board, State Rep, Bay State, and what's the other one? Oh, Board of Selectmen, all right. All righty.
Releasing through his files.
Am I dismissed? So do you need this back?
No, you
Oh, great.
you can borrow that.
Okay.
I do want it back, but yeah.
You know where I am?
Yeah.
Okay.
For now.
All right, great. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So we'll be talking soon.
Okay.
Thanks, Sue.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, you too.
Alrighty.
So, yeah, do you want to, I can attend the meeting.
It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to write out what we're looking for a specific purpose and give that to them, so they
Sample
don't
letter.
forget it.
Sample letter. Must have.
It has to be different for each one, too,
No, it doesn't.
form letter.
Not that much.
Yeah.
I can, if you want, I can tackle a draft.
That's what AI is good for.
Yeah.
Throw them the facts, this is what we got,
Yeah.
give me a letter.
Bingo.
Yeah, I love it.
So I'd suggest we look at where's a hole, right? Where do we still need something in order to complete this application so we can jump on that first?
I need to get some estimates for a sign or kiosk, whatever.
I have a vendor, we just ordered a mini kiosk and I think it was 25 or 2,700. But we'd want a full size. This is a vendor, Timberworks or something in Vermont. Locust poles, whole thing.
Did you see the one that Dick made over at Mazinski property? He spent $20 on it.
I think we should, go with,
I think we should go with something that's,
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to add it to the grant, that's,
yeah, that's what I want to do, add it
Right.
to the grant. So it could be a combination kiosk and sign?
yeah, because, the keeping's, this is dragged on so long, it should be something that looks really great. I'll find the picture or whatever. It's got a little pitch on it, on the, a little roof cap and
Right.
stuff like that, and
and the sign on top of it.
we could figure out where the sign would go. And then we have to have the installation for the sign too. So I'm just saying there are incidentals that we can add to the budget
And
that we
I'm
shouldn't
thinking
short
that
ourselves.
What we have for quotes right now, that I may add a percentage for a contingency, just because of by the time, from when we got those to when they're actually going to do the work, cost of fuels or whatever, anything goes up, I think we need a little bit of a,
Absolutely. 10%, do you think? Well, day to day.
yeah.
But I think you're right, because, or Or I think you could call them and even ask them before we, maybe when we get to into August, say we're applying for this grant, and when was that? When was one of the quotes?
January 22nd, 2025. Actually, that's not that long ago, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them were January, February of this year. So not so bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think, unless they're buying new machinery, because this is machinery that they already have. So, they're getting the gravel locally, so I don't think that's not a tariff thing. And I did have on in here to, when they do the parking lot, to excavate 2 holes where the posts are gonna go. Then even if they fill them back in, it's still easy to dig out. We know there's no boulders there.
Yeah.
Okay, we talked about the possibility of putting a bench on the other side of the stone wall. Right.
That's a small one.
Yep. So they're out of Vermont?
Yep. Timberholders, LLC. Colin must have a, or you guys make your
We
own.
make our own,
You all make your
all
own.
by hand,
Chiseling away, right?
chiseling away. Yep. We're finishing up one this week. Been working on it for a month.
What we need to fill in, because I could pull together all the technical stuff on this, no problem. But in the pictures, in the maps, but you will be asked to describe the need, how this grant will help community overcome the challenge, and who specifically will benefit from the project, and explain how impact will be measured, demonstrating how the project will lead to anticipated results. How the project will lead to the anticipated results changes.
Okay.
That's where the creative thinking comes in.
Partners in age. Boy Scouts involved.
Well, partners are like Bay State and Boy Scouts, yeah. I mean, we have plenty of.
Well, that's part of the 5 letters of support.
Yeah.
So the 5 letters of support are going to have to
Explain those things.
explain those things, yes. Up to 5 letters
Is that, did that include ADA? I can't remember. Accessibility in the trail works?
The trail is fairly level, the access trail, from the parking lot out to the stone wall. So if it's cleared, leveled out, the
Yeah.
stuff's taken out, and then they put 3/4 inch wide gravel that's packed, compacted, that's gonna be a fairly stable surface.
Okay. I'm just asking, I don't know what they require.
T-Mobile doesn't require anything, which is something we were thinking about
Okay.
doing.
But it's, as a community need, there aren't that many places to do that, and that would be one of them. In that whole,
Right, to get people, to be able to get people who are challenged out to enjoy nature.
And it's a good, nice overlook. It's looking down the hill and everything, there could be wildlife viewing. And that was one of my questions about putting for that, so then we need a bench too then. Bench price. And more gravel. That bench that we got, that was from Amazon?
yeah,
I can get a price on there then, all right.
that was 300 or something.
Was it? Look to see if I can find one that looks like it.
It's beautiful.
Yep.
You know what? Yeah. I'm not used to the orange stain. It'll change over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys want to tackle the need and how the grant will help the community, and I don't know how the impact will be measured.
Well, community increasing trails at, out of 7 conservation lands, there's only now 3 that are accessible or
We would want to ask for a trail counter,
what
a trail counter
and choose.
That's an idea.
that measures, that's, like, how would you measure the impact? It's going to go from 0 to whatever, because people do use the trails, but there's no, like, public access. We'll throw that in there. And that's something that could be moved to other areas to measure impacts too.
What'd you say, how many conservation areas? 7? Only 3 are accessible? Sort of? Are you including Keven? Which,
Yep, I'm including Keven.
well, that's not there
Not
yet.
accessible yet.
Yeah, so basically the Mazinski,
And what other one were you thinking?
at
Con-
Keven.
But you said 3. What other? Makowski? No. Yeah, let me know.
Similar bench.
Oh, yeah.
The similar bench, Becky, it's $259.99.
Yeah,
Similar bench.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So I'll have to get a picture of it.
Can I send it to you?
Yes, please. So you have to look it up.
So I'll try to do some wordsmithing on need, as well as the draft support, letters of support.
Impact will be measured.
Well, if you have the counter,
On the counter, yeah.
other people out there, on the kiosk,
Yep,
we can do a QR code to ask people to send us,
feedback.
yeah, what have they seen, right?
Yep, okay, so whoever's doing that one, throw that in your notes. I can can ask for the trail counter. I don't have to ask for a QR code.
Yep. No, but that's how, yeah.
Right, yep.
Measured. Do you need help finding another vendor for a quote? Or how many quotes do we need? They're not saying, right?
Correct. We just needed a ballpark, so I have a ballpark. I think once we get the grant, we may have to get a third. I don't know, how would that work? Because it's not the town paying for it, right?
Correct.
And they don't specify.
Yeah. So we can use one of the two that we already have.
Just have to figure if there's a increase.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can check with John on that, but yeah, there's no town funds are being used, except that the funds will come in.
How do they have to set up an account?
Right. But as soon as the account's set up, are they then town funds? I have no idea. Maybe our new best friend Jean can help us. Don't ask today. She'll be so freaked out to see you again. Anything else?
Nope. That should do it. I can write up the scope of work, because I pretty much have that fleshed out. Just have to make it neat and then add all of this stuff to it.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Look it over at the next, see what we put together for our meeting in
August.
3 weeks, August 18th. Is that just, should we make it?
I think
Well-
I should probably maybe email it. Can we email the stuff back and forth?
Well, I think maybe between the two of us, we can do that and then get it in as good a shape as possible for that August meeting.
Yeah.
Yep. Then get it passed on to John.
But, oh, the August, when is the conservation meeting? Anyway, I'll make sure it's done, that draft is done for them.
So you're doing the sample letter? You want me to try and take a crack at the overall, how it affects the town and all that stuff?
Go for it.
Yeah, if we should all sort of brainstorm it.
Yeah.
I can kind of start getting some
Just
thoughts
five
down and maybe
different
send it
things.
out. and
Yep.
People can.
Sounds good.
Oh,
I'm going to bring up something else too.
are you good, Becky, for now?
Yes. Yep.
I think it might be in the system somewhere already, but I haven't heard it. Have we typed it in the chat?
I talked to Sam this morning at CMRPC. Because I called him to say, you know, I'm updating the open space and recreation plan, and I'm just gonna make a copy of the action plan and where they're listing the numbers, the dates, and how many years I'm altering them, and gonna send him copies. So. And while he had me on the phone, he's like, oh, or actually email, can I call you and ask you about certain things to do with the master plan? So he wanted to know, you know, about all the things that we have in the open space plan. It's are we doing those things and, you know,
We never did any,
just
never did before.
what have we accomplished and what are our concerns and what is the committee approach to the timing of the dates when things are due and what are the challenging issues in the long term and any easements to waterfront or invasive management and conservation lands and how we can get grants for that and any community garden yet and any bylaw issues or,
Are you kidding?
and I'm like, yeah.
Does he think we do this full-time?
Yeah. I said, yeah, we're not paid employees. So, you know, just how it's all, things for the master plan that Gordon's on.
Yeah, well, I missed the last meeting, and I don't think it's been discussed yet. He's putting together the book to then
Yeah,
present to us.
there's a chapter on
Yeah.
open space and recreation,
Right.
and there's a chapter on, I don't know what it was, but, you know, basically I told him what we've been doing and said we have only this much time and that's what we're working on. But then he, you know, he's like, have you done anything about native, indigenous groups and stuff and water, you know? So he said basically he didn't know about the survey for the windmills up on the edge of Webster when they were going to put some windmills in there one time and they had to come before all the meetings for the town and everything, and then at the last minute someone in Webster objected to having windmills that near to them, so all went out the window. But they found things up there from indigenous people in that area. And I have the report somewhere, look it up. And also he said that, you know, I mentioned the riverfront along Beach Street, and he's like, oh, well, they're working on that. And I'm like, really?
There was a presentation, Margaret Brown, I think her name,
Bacon.
Bacon?
Bacon?
Bacon. Yeah, she did a whole presentation on an idea that she had.
So there was one from, you know, 20 years ago as well. So I said I would look that up and send it to him.
Well, he knows about it because she presented it to us.
Right, but they did that 20 years ago. There was also another plan. Back the landscape inventory project. Heritage landscape inventory.
Becky, the conservation
Somewhere I
August
have it.
4.
Oh, Concom? Okay.
When is it?
August 4th.
No, I don't have it here. I don't know where it is.
Right, but I'm just saying that
Yeah.
it's been done 20 years ago.
Right. Well,
Yeah, but
now
not
there's
to the
renewed
extent,
interest.
probably.
Right. But maybe they could benefit by seeing that. Not that anyone owns that land that's permitting that. I imagine it's still the same owner that we asked.
Yes. But someone said that they've approached him and he's a little more interested. And it was a nice planned parking area, a pedestrian bridge over the river, and a walk down along the edge.
But who was identified as the agency, the department who would take that to move it forward?
That hasn't been done. This is just a
Concept.
thought. It
Okay.
hasn't even been, she kind of did this on her own. And because every time we have a meeting, everyone talks about Riverwalk, a Riverwalk. We want to be like Putnam, Riverwalk, a Riverwalk. They did it in Northbridge, we can do it here. So she threw that together and showed it to them. It excited people, but it hasn't been officially introduced into the
Gotcha.
plan yet.
Okay, so what do you need from us for Sam?
I don't think anything. I mean, did you read the letter that I wrote to?
Yeah, I haven't gone over that
Yeah.
to figure out if if there was anything that we had done that wasn't on that list.
Yeah. So I just, I would get Sam to make the copies and just the pages that we need for the action plan and include them and send the letter to her, to Melissa Cryan in Boston, and hopefully it applies.
So that's an odd question. So it's like if we complete something, should we like notify CMRPC?
They're just trying to, make it the master plan, like what's in the works, what's been done or what's been started.
Oh, okay.
I basically said we've been, we worked on the CPA one year, and this year we've been working on the conservation property.
Yep. Okay.
So I said, there are ideas of maybe putting a stencil of a bike rider on the sides of the road. I said, but basically the roads aren't even wide enough for two cars these days. So, you could do that and get the idea there, but he's like, well, are there places, or has anyone designated certain roads that are better than others or whatever? And I'm like, no.
Well, pretty bad.
I said, but, there's not that much traffic, that basically if you have a stencil and you put it on a major road here and there, people get the idea that there might be bike riders around and that you should pull behind them and let the other oncoming car come and go around them or something. But I'm not going to start carving out more roadways or whatever. So, I satisfied him after an hour. All right, so anything new?
How about a new thought? If we had the money, that that house that's for sale, like over $1 million, up on the hill there.
Yeah.
There's a piece of land that goes around it. Wouldn't that be nice for the town to have? It's close to downtown-ish for a park.
So my latest information, there's already a agreement on it, but I think the way we might be able to approach that is through conservation and the planning board. Because if they submit a plan, we want to make sure that the residual, right, the buffer where they can't build is maybe surveyed out and deeded to the town, right?
Well, it's the house for sale, but I think they, either the house and all the land, or the house and then selling the land separately. And when I think I looked on the assessor's map, the building plans, that said not a buildable lot, not intended for building, something or other like that.
They changed the zoning of that
Yeah.
to protect it.
You might check with Jen in the planning, and because somebody told me that there was already an agreement on it, and so that there was a plan for some kind of subdivision or something, or houses up there.
Really?
Well, there was, they did have it all subdivided at one point.
They never recorded it. So it wasn't, I guess it wasn't, in fact, it wasn't a recorded subdivision. So after a certain time period, it just goes away. So it wasn't like they transferred a plan.
Interesting, okay.
So they would have to submit a new plan, the new owner would have to submit a new plan, and that's where I think, again, I haven't been to planning board, and we should probably talk to John about it. See what we can do. But I agree with you.
That would be a great place for an assisted living, little apartments around the outside.
I have a request for our next meeting, can we please meet in the community room so we don't have to listen to the blower and we don't have to listen to who's ever in there?
It was full when we went to, there was a meeting in there already, even though we were booked for there.
Really? Because
When I walked in, I went over there first, and there was nobody
there
there.
was no one there.
Oh, really? Maybe they left. Who knows what time they left, but when I got here at 1:55, it was full of people. So they were
Oh.
eating, maybe it was a late lunch or something.
Yeah, no, when I came in.
Yeah, and
Great.
actually, the finance officer was in there as well, everybody. So, yeah, no, I do book them, but this time it was off.
No, at least until the
AC is off.
yeah. It's just hard to hear.
They don't have too much heat.
Well, we can't hear.
No, I understand.
I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
So what's this hike from Conservation Drive?
Oh, it's tonight. Yeah, I know Susan Foley's anxious to take a hike from Conservation Drive and show us a few things in there that she's seen. And the one that lives right next door on
Oh, okay.
Conservation Drive. The one that helped us with the digging and stuff over in the Zinsky property. So she thinks she knows, how to get through certain areas or whatever, and she'd like to show us certain things. And I did call the company, the Douglas Sutton LLC, and bizarre. Some guy answered, and it was a message, and he's like, "I'll be back in the office on the 20-something." I didn't, and then so I left a message to give me a call, and then I was like, I couldn't get his name, so I called back again to see what it said for a name, and it was a woman, and it was an answering machine. And so I'm thinking maybe he was checking his message or something like that. So because I called 2 minutes later, and so I left a message with her to give me a call back. So we'll see, to request to have them mark the boundaries.
Okay, but I thought we talked about that, and it's a surveyed plan.
Right, it's
I
very
look-
hard to see.
I looked that up,
I did too.
and there's nothing on there that says an iron bar, rebar, or drill hole, or anything like that. It gives you the heading and the length,
You're
but
kidding.
it's not like a plot plan.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had asked the people that are selling, the realtor for the people that are selling the house next door there for it as well, for marking, but he never got back to me or something. Yep. No. All right. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Becky's got something.
Well, about the hike, did you,
Oh,
you
okay.
just told us about it, so we're not setting a date or anything about it right
No.
now? Okay.
It'll be there. If anyone wants to take a hike, give us
Yeah.
all a call and we'll join you.
I'd like,
Okay, sorry, okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to hike.
Okay, back to the, so,
Behind your house. All right.
Did anybody second them?
Entertain a motion to.
I already motioned.
and I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.